Good evening, everyone. Uh, yeah, I was watching a few days ago. Went on a TikTok live for people who sounded very Zimbabwean and who sounded very Ndebele. And these guys were talking of a lot of issues that they think is holding Ndebele back and blaming it on the Shona people and all sorts. And it wasn't just about development, but it was about blaming every Shona person for underdevelopment of Ndebele and everything. The one thing that was interesting about the live was these people just think Zimbabwe is just between Matabeleland and Mashonaland. They forget Manicaland, they forget Masingo and other provinces. Given we have got many, we don't have two provinces only, we have many. And for me, I don't think the people that brought the topic or the people that talk of the Mtwakhazi thing know Zimbabwe as they should. I don't think they know Zimbabwe, and I don't think they are Zimbabweans. Because if people know Zimbabwe as I do, yes, we've got Harare, but every other province is behind in terms of development, no matter what. So should we say the Shonas are holding back Matabeleland, and who is holding back Masingo? Who is holding back Manicaland? Is it not the Shonas in Manicaland? Is it not the Shonas in Masingo? I think the problem that we have, yes, some of it's to do with policies, some of it to do with government policies, but also some of it is to do with us, the people. Us, the people of Zimbabwe, not the government, not everybody else. It's us. If you go outside the country or if you go to work and when you're working, development of your area starts with you and where you live. But if you think if you're working in Harare and you don't need to develop where you come from, then you don't have to develop to blame anyone. You have to blame yourself. So the Mtwakhazi people, the first thing they need to understand is it is the people that have this mentality that someone else is holding back our development. That should be to blame. People can talk about Mtwakhazi, Shona, Ndebele, but to me, as someone who coming from a single, I just think it's a lot of nonsense to think Zimbabwe needs to be divided because of the Mtwakhazi thing. That's nonsense. Zimbabwe is not developing. If you go to Chiredzi, Chilonga, Bedbridge, Chipinge, everywhere, development isn't there. Partly because of us people. Secondly, yes, government policies are there, but these policies are not addressing the main issues that we have as a country. We are not paying into the system. Yes, there could be corruption, whatever. I don't have evidence of that, but I think the policies that we have now create a culture of dependence on our country. Because when people are being taxed $10, where do you expect the government to get money for development from? When people are doing black market business, where do you expect the government to get money from to finance all the projects that development throughout the country? It is those policies that we need. And Masingo, Midlands, Mashonaland, Manicaland, all these provinces, they are so underdeveloped. considering we are 43 years. It's 43 years since 44 years since we had our independence. We gained our independence. Development is not there in Zimbabwe. Masingo. Every province except Harare. But the Harare that we see on television or the Harare that we see when we go into the CBD, that's not replicated throughout the outskirts of the city. So the Mtwakhazi people, if you have got other issues, yes, say them, but it's not about development only, because every province needs development. I was teaching in Goka personally. The roads were so bad that we couldn't even go to a school. 40 kilometers distance from my school to the main center. We used to take us almost 6 hours to get there because the roads were poor. And that's Midlands. In Masingo, where I come from, you'll be lucky to see an ambulance in the rural places. The clinics, way far away from the main roads, far away from people. People are far away from clinics, and people do not have the basic necessity to make a life better for them. And you talk of Mtwakhazi as if the Debeles are the only people that are suffering. Everybody is suffering, including people from Mashonaland. Okay? I'm not here to blame government for whatever. It is the way it is, but it's not just one province that's being affected. Masingo, Mashonaland, the Midlands, everywhere. We all need development. It's just not Mtwakhazi that's left behind. So whoever, I'm addressing this, I'm directing this to the people who talk of the Mtwakhazi nonsense on TikTok. Wherever you are, whichever country you live in, where you are enjoying the comfort to be on TikTok and talking a lot of nonsense. I am a Zimbabwean. Me and Vela is Zimbabwe. I'm a Zimbabwean, just like a Ndebele person, just like Shona, Mashona, and everyone. We are all Zimbabweans. Zimbabwean issues are not about tribes. Zimbabwean issues are not about tribalism. Zimbabwean issues are about the economy, the development of a country, the policy, everything. It's a lot of other things. I have to say I went to Zimbabwe a few months ago. Yes, if you land at Robert Mugabe Airport, there is development there. If you drive from Harare to Masingo, the roads are getting done. But guys, this is a huge country. You can't expect things to go smooth everywhere at the same time. And I think what people need to do is to encourage the government to tax the people in Zimbabwe. To make sure each and every business that's operating in Zimbabwe pays the taxes. Yes, because from the taxes, that's where the government is guaranteed it will have enough money or some money to finance all the projects that we are talking about. But if those businesses are not paying any tax, if we are saying we've got to black market business, especially in Zimbabwe at the moment, most of the business that I see, a lot of people that are saying are millionaires, it's a black market, don't pay tax at all because nobody knows what they're selling. They're selling stuff, but they are not, whatever business they are engaging, it doesn't contribute anything to the national economy. I'm always surprised when I hear the growth rate 10%, 12%. I'm just wondering, where is this minister getting his figures from? Because people sell stuff at Pachtima in Masingo, in open market where nobody pays tax or anything. So how do you get the figures to measure that the economy is growing? Where do you get the figures? How is the economy growing? There's no way you can tell us. So those are not the issues that are affecting Matabeleland only. It's affecting the whole Zimbabwe. So the idea that people in Matabeleland are being left behind, it's not just people in Matabeleland unless you are not Zimbabwean. It's the whole of Zimbabwe. Everybody is suffering. Everybody is suffering, including people in some in Mashonaland, where you think that's all where the money is. So the Mtwakhazi thing is a lost cause. It's nothing. The only thing that people in the Mtwakhazi are talking about is tribalism, because the way they were describing Shonas, it's a lot of nonsense. Zimbabwe is a huge country, and every part of it needs development. It's not just Matabeleland. So, yes, there are issues, but see, the Mtwakhazi nonsense should stop. The Mtwakhazi nonsense should stop, because it's the whole of Zimbabwe that needs development. It's not just Matabeleland. I come from Masingo, beautiful city, and it needs development. Yes, there is. It's there, but it's slow. I was in Gokwe. It's roads, everything. It's an agricultural area. Lots of agriculture going on there. But they also need development. If you go to Manicaland, it's the same. If you go, it's the same. So it's not just Matabeleland. I think what Zimbabwe needs at this point is not the idea of dividing the country. It's Shona and Tebele. It's about uniting the country. Uniting the country, work together as one people for the development of our country. Not the nonsense of going on TikTok and start talking about Mtwakhazi nonsense. I just thought, let me go on this live and talk about it. If there is anybody who has got other ideas about, I don't see it as a good idea to talk of partitioning of Zimbabwe on the basis of, one region is not developed, one region is not. If people don't understand the issues in Zimbabwe, they should never go on TikTok and start denigrating Shonas for Matabeleland issues. Yes, there are other issues, probably if we go back, but I think in terms of development, every part of Zimbabwe needs development. Every part of Zimbabwe is behind. Harare is not Zimbabwe, it's not the only Zimbabwe that we're talking about. We've got so many provinces. All those provinces, they need development. We need good roads. In Mashingo, they need them. Mankaland, they need them. In Harare, Mashonaland, they need them. In Midlands, they need them. In Matabeleland, they need them. I've got my son who is working at the moment in Matobo. He talks of bad roads and things like that. No development. And it's sparsely populated because it used to be cattle ranching area. Development starts with the people of that area. A lot of people went to South Africa, but people are not coming back. But I don't think anybody should expect other people to develop the area. There are things that we can do on our own as people. Then there are things that we expect the government to be doing. Shops, government doesn't run a business. There are services that the local people need, which the local population should be able to create. Government is not a business operator. It creates services where there are people. If there is, yes, they will have to. But I think we are going too far in terms of talking about partition of Zimbabwe on the basis of tribalism has no place in society at this point. If people don't know, tribalism is just as good as when we talk about it on what do you call it, on social media. Look at what it did to Rwandans, the Hutus and Tutsis. What happened? Is it the best outcomes that people are looking for? That's not. What we need as Zimbabwean, Tebele, Shona, Shangani, and vendors and everybody, all we need is to talk about development, unity as a country. South Africa has how many languages? People who speak this, so many languages, but it's one country. It's one country. For so many people that are talking about Mtwakhazi, all they need to be talking about is Zimbabwe needs development. Let's talk about policies. We have got a lot of people that are aspiring politicians. Let those come forward and let's give those people ideas so that they can challenge the government and say this is what we need for our country. But I don't think what we need as a country is the disunity that the Mtwakhazi nonsense is bringing on social media. I listened to it and I was horrified. I don't want to lie. I was horrified. Because I've got so many people, Debeles, that are good friends of mine. We talk, we are good friends. We don't, what was being described is not what I know. I was at a school where I taught with a lot of Ndebeles. And you know what? We were cooking the same fire, eating the same food, not what people in Mtwakhazi are talking about. No. Zimbabwe needs unity. Yes, there is a lot that needs to be done, but I think if Matabeleland people need water, so are people from Midlands, so are the people in Manikal and Masingo, everything. If the Matabeleland people need clinics, so are the rural people in Masingo and all other provinces. Everybody needs development for Zimbabwe. Don't look at Harare as if Harare is the only place where people live. Zimbabwe is huge. From Manicaland to Victoria Falls, from Chirundu to Bedbridge. That's Zimbabwe we're talking about. Are we saying all these other areas other than Matabeleland are developed? That's a lie. People should start traveling out of the cities, out of towns. That's where you see that it's not just Matabeleland. Everywhere else is. Matabeleland is affected because of the climatic conditions. And we know the western part of Zimbabwe is like that. And it's nature. But there are other things that people need to understand that there's nothing to do with government. And there are other things they understand, okay, yes, government needs to do more. Policies. Yes, I agree with, if people start talking about policies, I agree with people. It's policy choices. And they can't be right all the time. Even in countries like South Africa, in countries like anywhere in the world, including China, it's not that they always get the policies right. There are so many other policies that are wrong, but then there are other policies that are also right for the country. At the moment, I think in Zimbabwe, yes, a lot needs to be done in terms of policy. There's a lot of policy deficiency because some of the policies or the policies that are being that the government adopted are not addressing real issues that the people of Zimbabwe are facing. They are not. And the worst thing about it is we've got Chinese that are coming in and making it look like things are okay. They are concealing our main issues. They're destroying the industries that we thought probably as Zimbabwe we're going to have. Because the Chinese are bringing in finished products in the country, they're dumping. I see on TikTok Live a lot of times, Zimbabweans advertising, I've got a warehouse in China, I've got a warehouse. The people that were trying to sew clothes in Zimbabwe can't do anything now because Chinese materials are being dumped in the country. Another policy that needs to be addressed. We've got water problems. It's not that we don't have water in the country. But I think we need to make sure everybody has got access to clean water. And it's not just one area of the country that's being affected. All provinces and everybody in the country needs water. We have got a lot of black market economics in Zimbabwe at this point. It's affecting Matabeleland. I used to go to Bulawayo personally. There was an area where people were changing money. Hey, it's World Bank, it's World Bank. That's what the country needs to deal with. Probably that's one area that's affecting Matabeleland as well. Because a lot of people think black market economics will improve the country. It doesn't contribute to the national economy because those people, their invoices are not passing through their invoice. Nobody knows what's on their invoice. They are changing. Money is changing hands. But that doesn't pass through the clearance system. The banks are not involved. So, guys in Matabeleland, I'm telling you as a guy from Masingo, the development you are crying for Matabeleland is exactly the development that I'm crying for Masingo. It's not everybody that lives in the city. There are so many people that live in the countryside. They don't see the development that people in Mtwakhazi talk about. They are also crying. The good roads, the clinics, the clean water, good schools for our children. It's a national issue. It's not a Mtwakhazi issue. It's not. And I think a lot of guys here, a lot of people know that unless someone is not a Zimbabwean, Zimbabweans know that the problems in the country are not just for one province, they are national. And I think what people in Mtwakhazi should be doing as a group on TikTok is to use their brains and look at what they are talking about and how realistic the things they are talking about are. The Zimbabwe we are talking about is a Zimbabwe that should have everything. 43 years, 44 years after independence, we should have lots. And here we are not talking about Bulawayo should have this, Bulawayo should have that. No. We are talking Zimbabwe should have that, including Mashonaland. Yes. To blame the Shonas for this, to blame the Shonas for that, to blame the Shonas for this, that, it doesn't help at all. It doesn't help at all. I think what people need to talk about are the real issues and how to address them. Not to address them on tribal lines. No, that's not the solution. Because I want to go to Mtwakhazi freely. As people in Mtwakhazi can be in South Africa, can be in China, can be everywhere. We want people to... Zimbabwe is our country, all of us. Ndebele, Shona, Shangan, Venda, everybody. It's not just one person. It's not just one tribe. It's for us all. And I think what we need as Zimbabweans is to unite. We've got lots of Amazukuru, you know, a lot of people, Shonas got married to Ndebeles. A lot of Ndebeles got married to Shonas. Because we're one people. Those people don't need to be separated. They need to be united. So I will end with this. If anybody harbors the idea of partitioning Zimbabwe on tribal lines, that's nonsense to me. Zimbabweans, Matabeleland, Mashonaland, Makaranga, like me, we are Zimbabweans and we need to unite. We need to unite because we are one people. The development that people in Matabeleland want, we need that in Masvingo. People in Manicaland need the same. In Mashonaland they need the same because Mashonaland is not just Harare. It's not just Harare. So all we need to be doing is to encourage the government to revise their policies and address the national issues. And it's not going to happen in one day. One by one, most of the issues will be addressed. But I think talking of division is not the solution. But it will create more problems. I'm telling you, it will create more problems. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but it will create more problems than we ever think. Let's look at Somalia. Let's look at many other countries that are the Sudan issues. Let's look at the Central African Republic. Let's look at Ethiopia and other countries. We need to be very clear, very clear in what we want. If we want development, let's talk about development. But if we want division and destruction, keep talking about Mtwakhazi. Nonsense. Thank you.